400 days married, and the Mafia king who commanded her presence before crowds had never laid a hand on her in solitude. By every visible measure, their marriage was impeccable. They arrived at Gala's arm in arm, his hand firm at the small of her back, guiding Nanai through crowds of souls elite with the ease of a king and his queen. Cameras flashed, capturing Choi Ming-kai's possessive hold, the way her dark blouse hugged her curves against his crisp white shirt, her natural curly hair catching the light like a crown of midnight coils. To the world, it was power personified, intimacy carved in public stone. To her, it was choreography, precise and hollow. 400 days married, and the Mafia king who commanded empires with a raised hand had never touched her behind closed doors. Not once. The penthouse perched high above the rain-slicked city, windows bleeding neon and storm light across marble floors. Below, life pulsed chaotic and free. Above, everything bent to his will. She stood in the master suite, theirs in name only, watching rain lash the glass, her calm expression masking the tension coiling in her chest. Emotional pain simmered quietly, a restraint she'd worn like armor. The door opened behind her, his presence announcing itself before his footsteps did. Low voice, controlled, slicing the silence. "You're still awake." Nanai didn't turn. "So are you." Her tone stayed even, laced with that quiet strength he'd always admired and ignored. Silence stretched, heavy as the storm outside. When she faced him, Choi Ming-kai filled the space like danger made flesh. East Asian features sharp and severe, jaw like cut granite, eyes dark pools holding cold authority, broad shoulders straining his shirt. In the background shadows of the room, he seemed to watch her even now, unblinking, unyielding, unfairly commanding. "You have a dinner tomorrow," he said, gaze flicking to the cityscape. "We leave at 7. "We always do," she replied softly, the words a mirror to their routine. "In public." A pause, brief but telling. His hand twitched mid-gesture, as if reining in some invisible thread. "Pretending what?" "That this is real." Her voice held steady, her tense poise unbroken, curly hair framing eyes that betrayed her solitude. "That we share a bed, a life." His gaze flicked away for a split second, confirmation enough. Power demanded walls, survival demanded distance. Love, that was the vulnerability he couldn't afford. In public, he played the devoted husband flawlessly, arm around her waist, lips brushing her temple for the lenses. Private touch, though, that was truth. Raw, dangerous. If he crossed that line, let her warmth seep into him, her strength mirror his own, she'd become more than a wife. She'd be his undoing. The sharpest blade any rival could wield. She'd stopped questioning by day 150, hope turning to quiet bleeding. By day 300, she navigated the penthouse like a ghost in her own home, sleeping alone in a bed meant for two, smiling at events where whispers congratulated her on a union that existed only in flashbulbs. She loved him, had from those early electric days. Cruelest of all. Now, at 400 days, solitude deepened into resolve. Rain hammered the windows, mirroring the storm inside her. His eyes met hers again, authoritative gaze probing, hand still half raised as if controlling the air between them. "Get some rest," he said finally, voice low. Nanai nodded, turning back to the city. As the door clicked shut, the penthouse felt smaller, the facade cracking just enough to let longing breathe. Tomorrow, the performance resumed. But tonight, in the heavy tension of neglect, she wondered how long she could dance alone. Before we continuing this thrilling story, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Where are you watching from? Like and comment. By day 402, the penthouse felt less like a cage and more like a rehearsal hall for a life half-lived. Nanai moved through mornings with mechanical grace, coffee black, blouse dark against her rich skin, natural curls tamed into loose waves that brushed her shoulders. Choi Ming-kai left before dawn, returned after midnight, their paths crossing only in public scripts, his hand at her back, her smile for the cameras. The solitude had carved deeper, but something shifted. She craved a spark, something that answered back when she reached for it. It started at a discreet charity auction in a Gangnam lounge, rain still streaking the windows like tears on glass. She attended alone, his business, a shadow excuse, security hovering at the edges. Nanai drifted among velvet ropes and crystal flutes, her calm poise drawing glances she ignored. Then, amid the murmur, a man approached. East Asian, gentle-eyed in a soft gray suit that hung easy on his frame. No dominance, no edge, just quiet warmth. "Excuse me," he said, voice smooth as polished stone. "I couldn't help noticing you look like someone who listens more than she speaks." Nanai turned, tense expression softening fractionally. "And you look like someone who notices too much." He smiled, unhurried, extending a hand. "Why, Hyun? I curate art for events like this. You have the eyes for it." "Nanai," she replied, shaking his hand, brief, warm, real, no performance. They talked pieces on the wall, a stormy seascape that mirrored the city outside, bold strokes capturing chaos she knew too well. Why Hyun didn't pry, didn't posture. He pointed to a smaller canvas, abstract swirls of midnight blue. "This one," he said. "It's about finding light in confinement." Her lips curved, an unguarded smile, rare and radiant, lighting her face like dawn-breaking storm clouds. Curls framing eyes that sparkled, dark blouse shifting as she leaned closer. For the first time in 400 days, joy flickered, quiet liberation uncoiling in her chest. No expectations, no walls, just conversation that flowed like breath. From the shadowed balcony above, Choi Ming-kai watched. He'd arrived late, drawn by a tip on rivals, but his gaze locked on her. White shirt stark against the dim light, hand raised mid-gesture to signal a guard, then frozen. Her smile hit like a blade, free, alive, directed at another. Wai Hyun's easy laugh followed, and something primal tightened in Choi's jaw. Cold authority sharpened his dark eyes, the city rain amplifying the tension below. Nanai felt the shift in the air, a prickle at her nape, but didn't look up. Wai Hyun handed her a card. "If you're ever interested in private viewings, no pressure." She took it, smile lingering. "Maybe I will be." He bowed slightly, respectful, vanishing into the crowd. Nanai slipped the card into her clutch, the spark lingering like warmth on cold skin. Back in the penthouse, rain lashing harder, she stood at the window again, card in hand. Solitude no longer just echoed, it hummed with possibility. For the first time, she felt chosen, not choreographed. Choi entered silently later, suit dark and damp, authoritative gaze tracing her silhouette. He said nothing about the lounge, but his hand flexed at his side, mid-gesture aborted. The facade held, but the crack widened. Her unguarded smile had introduced more than joy, it had lit a fuse. Rain-slicked streets gleamed under neon haze 2 nights later, the city a restless beast below the penthouse. Nanai had texted Wai Hyun from the card, simple, curious, private viewing. His reply came swift, coordinates to a quiet gallery in Itaewon. No galas, no crowds, just art and air she could breathe. She slipped out mid-afternoon, security trailing at a distance, dark blouse and curls hidden under a hood against the drizzle. For once, the facade paused. The gallery hummed soft, muted lights on canvases, jazz whispering from hidden speakers. Wai Hyun waited near a sculpture of twisted metal, gray suit unchanged, smiled genuine as she approached. "You came!" No surprise, just pleasure. "Curiosity," Nanai said, tense poise easing. They wandered, abstracts bleeding emotion, landscapes storm-torn like her thoughts. He didn't crowd, didn't command, pointed, shared, listened. When she lingered on a piece of shadowed figures reaching but never touching, her lips curved again, that unguarded smile flashing bright against her rich skin. "It's honest," she murmured. "Raw." Wai Hyun nodded, eyes warm. "Art doesn't pretend." From the shadows of an upper landing, Choi Ming-kai watched. He'd followed on instinct, a shadow among shadows, dark suit blending with the dim. Business had brought him near, her absence pulled him here. White shirt beneath unbuttoned at the collar, hand raised mid-gesture to his earpiece, then stilled. Her laugh came soft, real, curling around Wai Hyun's words like smoke. Curls loose now, framing her calm strength, dark blouse shifting as she gestured freely. Alive, unarmored. Jealousy brewed not as fire, but slow venom. Choi's jaw tightened, cold, authoritative gaze narrowing. He'd built walls to protect her, public king, private ghost. 400 days of discipline. Keeping her at arm's length so no rival could strike through her heart to his. But this, her ease with another man, smile he'd never earned in private, fractured something deep. Wai Hyun leaned closer, not touching, just sharing breath on a canvas, and Choi's fist clenched in silence. No outburst, not yet. Power demanded control. Nanai felt eyes on her, a prickle like rain on skin, but the gallery's intimacy held her. Wai Hyun handed her a small print wrapped simple. "For your walls, something real." She took it, joy sparking quiet liberation. "Thank you." Outside, drizzle turned to downpour, security umbrellas blooming. Back in the penthouse, she unwrapped the print alone, pinning it to a bare wall. Stormlit city mocked her from the windows, life below free, above controlled. Choi entered hours later, suit damp, presence heavy. He paused at the new art, gaze tracing its lines, then her. Hand flexed mid-gesture as if pulling invisible strings. "Where were you?" "Out," Nanai replied, voice steady, curls damp around her face. Tense calm held, but her eyes met his, spark lingering. Silence thickened, jealousy coiling unseen. He nodded once, turning away, but the fracture deepened. From shadows, he'd witnessed her light another man ignited. The bruise simmered, silent, inevitable. The facade trembled, cracks spread. A week blurred into relentless rain, the city a mirror of Choi Minkai's brewing storm. Nanai carried the print from the gallery like a secret talisman, its shadowed figures a quiet rebellion against the penthouse's sterile perfection. Wai Hyun texted once, polite, inviting, small gathering at the lounge tomorrow. Musicians, artists, join if it calls. She hesitated, then replied yes. Not defiance, but hunger for moments unscripted. The lounge pulsed low that evening, velvet shadows and amber lights cutting through the downpour outside. Nanai arrived alone, dark blouse clinging slightly from the mist, natural curls frizzing wild at the edges, framing her calm yet tense face. Security lingered by the door, invisible to most. Wai Hyun spotted her immediately, rising from a corner booth with that easy smile. "You made it." "Couldn't resist," she said, sliding in beside him. The group was small, 3 musicians tuning guitars, a painter sketching idly, laughter light over wine. No elite stares, no cameras. Wai Hyun introduced her smoothly, no titles, just Nanai. Conversation flowed, stories of late-night inspirations, chords that healed silent wounds. When a guitarist strummed a haunting melody, strings weeping like rain on glass, her face lit, unguarded smile breaking free again. Rich skin glowing under the lamps, eyes sparkling with rare abandon. Wai Hyun leaned in, voice soft. "That piece, it suits you, strong but soft at the edges." She laughed, warm, real, head tilting, curls brushing her shoulder. "Flattery from an art curator, dangerous." "Not flattery, truth." His gaze held hers, gentle, no pressure. Their knees brushed under the table, accidental, fleeting, but the spark flared brighter in her chest. Quiet liberation deepened. For an hour, she was no king's wife, just a woman alive in the moment. Across the shadowed room, Choi Ming-kai watched from a high-backed booth, dark suit melding with the gloom. He'd come on business, a rival's whisper in the wind, but her text alert had burned in his pocket. White shirt taut across his chest, hand raised mid-gesture to summon a guard, frozen now. His cold, authoritative gaze drilled through the haze, jaw carved sharper by jealousy's slow grind. Her smile at Wai Hyun twisted deeper than any blade. Intimate, earned, absent from their private nights. The other man's easy proximity amplified it, watchful intensity coiling like smoke in his veins. He didn't approach. Power whispered restraint, but his eyes tracked every shift, her laugh lines crinkling, curls catching light as she nodded to the music, dark blouse rising with each breath. Wai Hyun's hand gestured near hers on the table, not touching but close enough to fracture Choi's control further. Rivals be damned, this was personal erosion. Nanai felt the weight then, a prickle sharper than before. She glanced up, locking eyes across the divide. Choi's silhouette loomed, unyielding, hand still half raised like a silent command. Her smile faltered, tense poise snapping back. Wai Hyun followed her gaze, oblivious. "Friend of yours." "Something like that," she murmured, heart thudding. The shared moment lingered, sweet but shadowed now. She excused herself early, rain greeting her like an old ache. Back in the penthouse, Choi arrived minutes later, presence thunderous. He said nothing, but his gaze lingered on her damp curls, the flush of joy fatting from her cheeks. Watchful intensity burned silent. The gathering had amplified the fracture. Jealousy no longer brewed alone, it demanded release. Rain drummed relentless on the penthouse windows the next morning. city lights fracturing through water trails like shattered promises. Nanai woke to silence, Choi Ming-kai's side of the bed empty as always, 400 days and counting of untouched sheets. But the air felt thicker, charged. He lingered now, not leaving at dawn. She found him at the kitchen island, white shirt sleeves rolled to forearms, dark eyes fixed on his phone, hand raised mid-gesture as if conducting invisible forces. Surveillance had tightened. Guards rotated closer, their presence a subtle cage. "You're up early," she said, pouring coffee. Curls tousled from sleep, dark blouse swapped for a simple silk top that hugged her quiet strength. "Didn't sleep," he replied, voice low, gaze lifting to trace her movements. No accusation, but the weight pressed. Watchful intensity from the lounge had evolved, now it shadowed her every step. Wai Hyun's next invitation came midday, studio visit. New pieces arriving. Nanai accepted, needing the breath of liberation. She dressed simply, dark blouse, curls loose, slipping out with security in tow, closer now, umbrellas blooming against the downpour. The studio sat tucked in a Hongdae alley, raw space smelling of paint and possibility. Wai Hyun greeted her at the door, gray suit rumpled from work, smile warm as ever. "Glad you came," he said, leading her through crates. Innocent interactions unfolded, hands brushing as he unveiled a canvas, stormy blues, figures entwined yet distant. "Feel it," he urged, professional, no edge. Nanai leaned in, fingers hovering near his on the frame, her unguarded smile flickering back. "It's alive," she breathed, rich skin glowing under bare bulbs, tense poise melting into genuine ease. From the rain-veiled street outside, Choi Ming-kai watched. Dark suit slick, positioned in shadows across the alley, cold authoritative gaze unblinking through tinted glass. He'd assigned the detail himself, track, report, protect. But seeing Wai Hyun's hand steady near hers, their shared breath over art, stoked possession like embers to flame. Her laugh carried faintly through the door, soft, real, curls catching light as she nodded, engaged, free in ways he'd denied her. Jealousy coiled tighter, not rage but ownership clawing awake. 400 days of restraint cracked further. She was his, untouchable by design, yet blooming under another's gaze. Inside, Wai Hyun adjusted a frame higher, his arm extending close, innocent, helpful fingers inches from her shoulder. Nanai's smile deepened, quiet joy uncoiling. "You're good at this," she said, "making spaces feel open." "Art does that," he replied, stepping back respectfully. No advance, just presence that answered her without demand. Choi's fist clenched in his pocket, hand twitching mid-gesture aborted. Guards murmured into earpieces nearby, but he waved them silent. Closer scrutiny revealed too much. Her relaxed shoulders, the way her eyes lit for Wai Hyun's words, dark blouse shifting with easy laughter. Possession surged, primal, unyielding. She'd been safe in isolation, now her spark threatened everything. Nanai left with a small sketch folded close. Back in the penthouse, Choi waited, presence filling the foyer like storm front. Water dripped from his suit, eyes locking on the paper in her hand. "Productive afternoon," voice even, but laced with edge. "Very," she said, calm returning, curls damp. Tense poise held, but awareness prickled. She was under surveillance, his watchful intensity now a tangible chain. Wai Hyun's innocence only fanned the flames, possession brewed toward breaking point. Dusk bled into night, rain a ceaseless roar against the penthouse glass, turning the city into a blurred watercolor of neon and shadow. Nanai stood at the kitchen island. Sketch from Wai Hyun unfolded before her, simple lines capturing a woman's quiet reach. Choi Ming-kai entered without a sound, dark suit shedding droplets, white shirt clinging to the hard lines of his chest. His hand rose mid-gesture, pausing the air like a command unspoken. Surveillance notes burned in his pocket. Her smiles, Wai Hyun's proximity. Innocence that mocked his walls. "Where did you get that?" His voice cut low, authoritative gaze locking on the paper, then her. Nanai met his eyes, curls framing her tense calm, dark blouse a shadow against her skin. "A friend, why?" "A friend," the word twisted in his mouth, jealousy surfacing not as shout but steel. He stepped closer, presence towering, cold eyes tracing her face, the spark Wai Hyun ignited still lingering there. "The one who makes you smile like you forget who you belong to." Her breath caught, quiet strength flaring. Belong to? I've been a ghost here for 400 days, Choi. You touch me for cameras, not for us. What do I belong to? Your rules. He exhaled, sharp hand flexing mid-gesture aborted, jaw carving deeper shadows. This isn't a game. That man, Wai Hyun, he's a crack in the armor. Every laugh, every glance they see. Rivals watch. They wait for weakness. Weakness? Nanai's voice rose fierce, poise cracking into raw fire. She closed the distance, rich skin flushed, eyes blazing. Is that what I am? You've kept me at arm's length to protect your empire, but I'm dying in silence. Wai Hyun sees me human, alive. You see a liability. Choi's gaze darkened, terror flickering behind the control. You don't understand. His hand lifted, hovering near her arm, first private impulse in 400 days, then dropped. Love makes you a target. Real touch, real need, it binds me. One slip and they strike through you to end me. I've built everything on discipline. Public king, private nothing. That's how you stay safe. Safe, she laughed bitter, curls trembling with the force. Alone in this cage, smiling for strangers while you watch from shadows. That's not safety, it's starvation. He went still, fierce dialogue stripping his armor. If I let myself want you, cross that line, you become everything. My heart, my ruin. I'd burn the world for you, choose you over survival. Rivals sense hesitation already. Your smiles with him, they smell blood. Nanai's chest tightened, truths exposed like veins laid bare. Then why watch me at all? Why follow if I'm just a risk? His hand rose again, this time cupping air near her jaw, inches from contact. Because I see you blooming, and it terrifies me. Voice hoarse, cold authority fracturing. You're already my weakness, whether I touch you or not. She held his gaze, fierce, unveiling, mutual. Then stop pretending distance saves us. Why Hyun's smiles are kindling, you're the fire I've waited for. Silence thrummed, rain hammering judgment. His hand dropped, but the terror stood naked. Love as liability, craving as chain. Truths spilled, the dialogue fierce, irrevocable. Walls trembled, possession demanding more than shadows. For the first time, the Mafia king stood not commanding, but exposed, terror of loss greater than any rival's blade. Midnight fractured the penthouse silence, rain a savage curtain sealing them from the world. Nanai retreated to the lounge, sketch still open, heart pounding from truths laid bare. Choi Mingkai paced the hall, phone clutched like a weapon, white shirt taut across shoulders rigid with exposed terror. 400 days of restraint frayed. Her words echoed, you're the fire I've waited for, stoking possession into something reckless. He wanted to reach, to claim, but the call came first. Unknown number blocked, he answered without breath. Speak. They know. Voice gravel rough, familiar from old wars, rival lieutenant, eyes everywhere. The hesitation, the wife who smiles for artists while you play king alone. Choi's jaw locked, hand rising mid-gesture to silence imagined threats. Cold authoritative gaze swept the dark penthouse. Know what? A laugh low and lethal. That she's leverage. Why Hyun's studio? The lounge, we saw, soft glances, her light in your shadow. You've cracked, Mingkai, loves your blind spot. Blood-iced, bluff. Proof incoming. Line dead. Seconds later, phone buzzed, a photo. Nanai at the lounge booth, unguarded smile radiant toward Wai Hyun, curls catching amber light, dark blouse framing her quiet strength. Time-stamped. Angle from shadows, intimate, damning. Caption, choose carefully, or she bleeds. He stormed the lounge, presence thunder. Nanai looked up, tense poise sharpening at his face, storm-dark eyes, hand clenched around the device. What? He thrust the phone forward, photo glaring. This, they sent it. Rivals, your smiles with him, they're watching, building a noose. She scanned it, breath hitching, rich skin paling under the lamplight. No fear, but resolve hardened. Because I smiled, that's their threat. Not just smiled. His voice raw, terror unveiled further. Because I let you. 400 days I kept distance for this, for your safety. Now they smell weakness, through you. Nanai stood, curls trembling faintly, closing the space. And why Hyun? Innocent. But you, your surveillance painted the target. Hand flexed mid-gesture aborted, inches from her arm. I protected you. Restraint was the wall, now it's crumbling. Rain lashed harder, city lights mocking through glass. Threats emerged not as guns, but precision strikes, photo a blade at her throat, call a promise of worse. Rival encroachment slithered closer, exploiting fractures. Her liberation, his jealousy, love's liability exposed. "They'll use him to get to me," Choi said, gaze fierce. "Or you directly. End my empire by breaking what's mine." "What's yours?" Her challenge soft, fierce. "Untouched or real?" He exhaled, possession warring with dread. "Both, and now everything's at stake." She took the phone, deleting the image, but the sinister weight lingered. Threats no longer shadows, they encroached, real, hungry. Penthouse felt smaller, Rain a dirge. Choi's hand hovered near hers, first private bridge, then pulled back. Not yet, but the call and photo ignited urgency, truths demanded action. Walls wouldn't hold. Rivals circled, and love's terror sharpened into survival's edge. Rain carved rivers down the penthouse windows, the city a drowned labyrinth below, mirroring the flood of threats now loose between them. Nanai paced the lounge, photo's ghost burned into her mind, curls wild from running tense fingers through them. Choi Ming-kai stood rigid by the bar, white shirt half unbuttoned, revealing the hard plane of his chest, vulnerability peeking through control. His hand rose mid-gesture, hovering as if to pull her close, then fell. The rival's words clawed. Leverage, blind spot. 400 days of distance shattered. Reckoning brewed in the stormlit air. "I can't do this anymore," Nanai said, voice steady fire, turning to face him. Rich skin flushed with resolve, dark blouse clinging like second skin, her calm strength unbreakable. "Threats because I smiled, surveillance turning joy to chains. You built this cage, Choi, not them." His cold, authoritative gaze met hers, jaw tight. "I built it to save you." "From what you?" She closed the gap, inches away, breath mingling. 400 days untouched. Public king, private phantom. Why Hyun gave me air, innocent, alive. You give me shadows. If love's your terror, own it, or let me go. Ultimatum landed like lightning, her eyes fierce, demanding. No tears, just truth. "This ends tonight, real or nothing." Choi exhaled, ragged, terror of loss cracking his armor. Hand lifted again, deliberate now, fingers brushing her jaw, first private touch in 400 days. Electric, reverent. Her breath broke soft, tense poise melting fractionally. "Nanai," he murmured, voice hoarse, East Asian features softening in the dim, sharp jaw, dark eyes stripped raw. "You're already everything, crossing this. No return." "Then don't," she whispered, leaning into his palm, curls tickling his wrist. Quiet strength yielded to hunger. "Be my husband." His thumb traced her cheek, tender breakthrough sparking, warmth seeping through restraint. Not urgent, but honest. He cupped her face fully, forehead resting against hers, Rain's roar fatting to their shared pulse. "I've wanted this," he confessed, possession yielding to need. "Every night, but fear chained me. You my weakness, my fire." She gripped his shirt, pulling closer, rich skin against his. "Fear lost, choose us." Lips met slow, careful, like sacred ground claimed. No performance, just recognition. Her soft yield, his controlled hunger uncoiling. Hands roamed tentative, his at her waist, hers in his hair, initial sparks igniting long-denied flame. Breath mingled hot, bodies aligning as if always meant. He lifted her to the counter, dark blouse rucked up, curls spilling wild. Kisses deepened, tender breakthroughs building, neck, collarbone, whispers of mine, finally. Rain judged outside, threats encircled, but reckoning held them. Her ultimatum didn't break him, it freed. Walls crumbled in touches honest, fierce dialogues turning to gasps. Not consummation yet, but bridge crossed. For the first time, the Mafia king touched not to command, but to worship. Her quiet liberation met his terror head-on. Tender flames flickered brighter than any rival's shadow. Morning light pierced the penthouse curtains like a hesitant promise. Rain finally stilled to a drizzle, city awakening slow below. Nanai stirred, warmth solid at her back, Choi Ming-kai's arm heavy across her waist, breath steady against her neck. 400 days shattered. The bed they'd never shared now held them, sheets tangled from night's tender conquest. His hand splayed possessive on her stomach, fingers tracing lazy circles over rich skin, curls spilling across pillows like midnight rivers. No facade, just union unbreakable. He shifted, lips brushing her shoulder, voice rough with sleep. You're still here. Always was, she murmured, turning into him, dark blouse long discarded, quiet strength blooming full. Their eyes met. His cold authority softened to devotion, sharp jaw nuzzling her neck. Kisses followed, unhurried, intimate, mouth claiming hers deep, hands mapping curves with reverent hunger. Bodies joined again, slow and sure, no desperation but recognition. Her gasps filled the room, his growls low, connection real, raw. Rain-scented air thickened with their rhythm, union sealed in sweat and whispers. By noon, threats demanded reckoning. Choi's phone lit with reports, rival lieutenant tracked, photo source pinned. He dressed sharp, white shirt crisp, hand raised mid-gesture to summon guards. "Stay here," he told her, but Nanai stood, curls tousled, pulling on silk robe, resolve iron. "No, we end this together." He paused, gaze fierce, then nodded. Possession evolved, partner not protected. They descended to the underground garage, city mist cloaking their trail. The meet was swift, brutal, rival in a warehouse, bound, smirking. "Leverage gone soft, Minkai." Choi's response was precision, fist cracking bone, guards swarming. No spectacle, just obliteration. Photo deleted from servers, networks burned, lieutenant silenced permanent. Dangers crumbled under his command, unbreakable now with her at his side, watching calm from shadows. Empire fortified, not fractured. Back in penthouse dusk, they stood on the terrace, city poolsing alive below. Rain clouds parted, neon reclaiming the night. His arm circled her waist openly, hand low, intimate, pulling her flush. "They learned," he said, lips at her temple. "You're no weakness, my line uncrossed." Nanai leaned back, curls against his chest, smile unguarded. "Why Hyun was a spark, you were the blaze." She turned, hands framing his face, kissing him deep. Public no longer performance, private always theirs. Nights blurred into weeks. Public flawless sharper, hands lingering possessive at galas, her dark blouse against his white shirt drawing whispers. Intimate mornings tangled sheets, afternoons stolen in offices, his desk, her straddling, gasps echoing power turned passion. Why Hyun faded politely, art sketches pinned as mementos but space filled. No more surveillance, just trust. One evening, terrace again, her head on his shoulder. "Everyone sees it now, real." He smiled faint, hand stroking curls. "We always were, just silent." Union unbreakable, dangers obliterated, connection claimed fully. Mafia king no longer restrained, wife no longer starved. In rain-washed city glow, they stood solid, love not liability but anchor. Storm passed, fire endured. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share this video, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the heart. Where in the world are you turning in from? Let me know in the comments so we can connect and share our thoughts. I appreciate the time you spent here with me today.